Alright, I'm at work, but I have a 10-minute break, so I just wanted to talk real quick about a book that I've been reading. I don't usually do this often, but for those who don't know who I am, I'm a huge sociology buff, and because I have such a short amount of time to do this, I'm not going to do any kind of cuts. I'm just going to speak what's on my mind about this, and I want to talk about this book. This was a self-help book that I got a while back. My old landlord gave it to me. It's called The Secret. It was written by, Rhonda Byrne. And honestly, this is a pretty interesting read. If you are a kind of person who likes philosophical ideologies and really diving deeper onto the human psyche, I would recommend giving this a read. If you guys like me doing stuff like this, where I talk more about my fascinations on sociology, please let me know. I love sociology so much because society is so weird and vast and different that it's really hard to pinpoint any one thing based on anything. So it's just odd, you know what I mean? It's just because there's so many different variables in life that you can't really pinpoint. You only can go off of your own experiences, your own experiences, your own verbal accounts. So reading The Secret, basically, I'm going to give a brief summary, but I'm not going to go into super detail. You are falling. I'm going to give a brief summary, but I'm not going to go into super detail because I really want you to read it. But I'm going to be real. I'm not a huge fan of the approach to this, but I do get the ideologies behind this book. So basically, they talk about The Secret, and The Secret is the law of attraction. How if you center yourself and really hone in who you are, then the universe will bend around your whim. For example, if you put out there, look in the mirror and put out there, I will be healthy, then the universe will help you and guide you to be healthy. Even if you don't feel healthy at that time, it will guide you to that. For another thing is relationships. If you're in a bad relationship, instead of saying, I attract bad people, you say, I'm going to find the best person. And by fixing yourself, you could fix the entire world landscape. And they start talking about how if you are more in tune with your emotions, saying that emotions are the drive of everything that goes down, then you will also be if you hone your emotion, then the world will be a better place because it'll bend around their emotions as well. Here's the thing about that. One second. So I have a security guard staring at me, so I'm gonna have to hurry up. But here's the thing about that. The biggest issue that I have with this kind of ideology is that it leaves you kind of narrow-minded and selfish in a way, because it doesn't imply any semblances of what's the word? It doesn't imply any semblances of looking at the broader scope, looking at the bigger picture. It only keeps you very narrow-minded, and I think that could be a positive and a negative for a lot of in a lot of situations. I think that if it's in turn of helping your life and fixing who you are as a person, then by all means, listen to this book. This book is really impactful, really powerful. But in terms of how they approach the world, I think focusing on yourself prior than everyone else is really narrow-minded. And the biggest issue that I have with that is because a lot of people, when they think of themselves, they're more driven to do more selfish tendencies. They become more enclosed or closeted to the outside world. They don't factor in all the other circumstances or evidence that go on with other individuals. For example, in my world, I am happy. I am successful. I will push that out to the heavens of the earth and really keep saying that I am successful, I am powerful, I am knowing in my subjects, and I deserve this. And while that's good for me, that doesn't always work for a lot of people. And I know universally everyone could just be like, if you do this, if everyone does this, then the world would be a better place. I kind of disagree, because there are a lot of people, just for a quick example, Trump supporters who really think about themselves, who are selfish and think about ideologies based on their own personal accounts. For example, with abortion, a lot of men like to identify saying that they are pro-life, that you're committing murder, despite the fact that it's not up to them, it's up to the woman's choice on whether or not it's murder. And that, because it's her body, it's her autonomy. So if you followed this principle of just thinking about yourself first and foremost, you have people who don't think about other individuals' lives and prosperities, because like other individuals and prosperities. And that's my biggest issue that I have with the book, because it kind of gives off this whole narrow-mindedness of how people don't really address everyone else. Like, you look at, if you, like, for example, in my day-to-day life, I do not like focusing on my entire self. I like okay, sorry about that. I got 4 minutes, so I gotta speed this up. When it comes to my own personal life, I like to think things as like a kind of list, where I'm on the very top, and then my fiance is on the next bullet, then it's my family, then it's my friends, and so on and so forth. That doesn't mean I'm not focusing on my family. That doesn't mean I'm not focusing on my fiance. It just means that in the grand scheme of things, I'm focusing on myself. This book, to me, internalizes it, like, exaggerates that, romanticizes it. It tells me, like, this book approaches yourself as in, you are the list, no one else. And that's not really how life works, because once you think of just you, it could lead to narcissistic or egoistic behaviors. And while in a lot of cases it could not be the case, but in a lot of cases it can be. And because there's variables like that, and not everything is very concrete or in absolute, we can't assume anything. We can't assume that someone's going to be like this, someone's going to act like this, or behave like this, or do these things. We are going, like, this book is a nice self-help book, and it really focuses on your own personal ideologies, but it also keeps you only focused on your ideologies, as if the world revolves around you. And while that works in your own self-help journey, I don't like that as like the way of looking at life and looking at the world. I think the way to look at life is that everyone is different, and everyone has different opinions, prosperities, goals, attributes, etc., etc. And because everyone is so vastly different, even if we are all collectively in one uniform society, we will not be all alike. And because of that, anything could be a possibility. Like, just for example, my family, I have a lot of family of entertainers. I have a lot of family of musicians, actors. And because of that, I could assume, but based on my own personal experiences in the animation industry and in the creator landscape, that I like that my family is also creatively driven. My family also likes to draw. My family also likes to act. My family likes to bake. But unless they tell me outright, I wouldn't be able to assume that. They could like to act, but not like drawing, which is my whole MO. And that's the biggest thing, because my own personal accounts and my own philosophies cannot be applied to every single person out there, because they aren't me. Even if someone is exactly like me in every way, shape, or form, we are two very different people, two different mindsets, and we will attribute things very differently. Thinking of it as like the multiverse theory, as in every different action you do can lead into a different kind of parallel universe. Slightly different or slightly different or drastically different. But the point is, it's not the same. The point is, it won't be exactly the same as how you left it. Nothing will be exactly the same as how you left it. And that's my biggest issue with this book, is that it attributes your own personal law of attraction and applies it to everyone, which is kind of selfish. But if you think of it as like a self-help book, and you think of it more on your own personal journey, and you look at it in a vacuum like that, then this is a really good book that I would recommend you guys reading. However, for me personally, I think the universe and society works so broadly and with so many variables that you can't focus on one specific topic, one specific ideology, and apply it to everyone. Not every democratic individual is going to have blue hair or pronouns or be progressive. Not every autistic person is going to be socially inept. Not every LGBT person is going to be very indulgent in their sexuality. A lot of LGBT people could possibly be racist, could also be homophobic to other individuals. Just because they're LGBT does not necessarily mean that they are like this progressive democratic individual. Because these communities and these societies are so broad and so vast, we don't have concrete definitions. We don't have concrete points of views. And because of that, I can't really recommend this book as like a concrete end-all be. I can't look at this book as an end-all be-all solution to everyone's life. But if you read this book and look at it in the vacuum and focus on yourself first and foremost in your own personal journey, this would be a really good read. Overall, I rate this a 7 out of 10. I think this is really good for your own personal journey and really diving deep on your own psyche. But their ideologies on how to approach the world is not really my ideal way of approaching things. If you like me doing these kind of sociology deep dives and reading other books, please... if you like these other sociology deep dives and reading books and stuff like that, please let me know. I love sociology. I don't usually get to do sociology shit. So please, let me know. Bye!